Hello everyone. So let's start with the new session with how to handle the Python files operations, which particularly we will cover up read, write and append. So let's start with how to read and write in a file. So if I say that f within file object is equal to open, so I want to open a file with a write mode, okay, and which file I have to open? I have to open a text file. This is the name of the file with an extension of txt. After that, I say that I want to read that particular file. Okay, so this file actually has the data already. This is an assumption that this is already having some data, which is hello, welcome to Python class. Okay, and this file is a text file and good luck. So all this is already existing in this particular text file. After this particular line, if we write down f is equal to open text file.txt and it's a readable mode, and then I write it down as f, that is this object dot read this particular file. Okay, so what will be the output? The complete file contents will be displayed as an output over here. Moving on to what are the types or what are the ways of writing down or reading a file in Python. There are basically three ways. One, which is read in the brackets, you write down n, read line in the bracket n, and read lines with empty brackets. Okay, so what do you mean by n in this particular ways? Is n is the number of bytes to be read. Okay, let's see it with a small example where let's assume that the file exists and contains some data. Okay, and then we are using read in the bracket n. So if I say that f is equal to open text file.txt and I write it down as rt. Now rt, r, even if I don't write down this r or rt, it all are same, right? It actually is a readable mode. After this, I write down print f dot read, and this in read function I mention n, which is an parameter or an argument, as 6. So what is going to happen is this 6 bytes, okay, the first 6 bytes from that particular file will be displayed. So let's assume that this text file is having hello, welcome to Python class. So when we say that print read 6, that means the first 6 bytes. So HELLO, okay, and this exclamatory mark. So all will be as a display for 6 bytes. Next is the read lines method. Okay, so if I say that I want to read line, a particular line, right? So what is the method to it? Is this as read line function, okay, which reads individual lines of a function. This method reads a file till the new line, including the new line character, right? So if I say that I want to read one line at a time, right? So how do I print it? Print f dot read line. So with an empty brackets mentioning no arguments over here, what happens is whatever line do you have at the first instant, okay, in that particular file will be displayed. So as we had assumed the data before in the text file, the first line, that is hello, welcome to Python class, will be displayed. Again, if I print f dot read line, so the next line of this particular line will be consecutive line, that means will be printed over here. Moving on to what if I include a parameter called n into it. So now the complete scenario changes and it doesn't read the line. complete line, but it will only read the first 3 bytes of that particular line. So if I print f dot read line in the brackets 3, so what is going to happen is it will print the first 3 bytes from the first line itself. Now let's say for reading the file using a loop, a for loop. This is also possible, like one line at a time is if what we want to read. Similar ways I can do it with the for loop also. So for x in f, this is the file object, print the x parameter. So each and every time you are going to print one line at a time. Now let's say the read lines s is what is included now over here. Previously what we had seen was only read line. Now here it is read lines. This is the method where you are going to read the lines into the entire file. Okay, so if at all it is an empty bracket over here, then it will actually print the complete file till the end of the file. Whatever values do you have in it, it all will be printed out. So once if I say that print f dot read lines and empty braces, whatever was included in that file is what is printed. So now moving on to the next, that is close file. We normally make sure to close the file when all the task, that is reading, writing, is all over, to make sure that there is no garbage values, garbage files existing and engaging our Python programs. So how do we do that is, once all the task, assuming that all the task is all over related to the files, I'll just write down f dot close, which will make sure that it closes the complete file. To move on, let's say that when I open a file, I normally have w, okay, which opens a file for writing. It creates a new file if it does not exist, or truncates the file if it exists. So this we already have seen. Now let's move on to A mode, which is an appending mode. Opens a file for appending at the end of the file without truncating it. Creates a new file if it does not exist. So let's see with an example. How do we write it down? F is equal to open with a text file and A, and then I can write it down. I can write a new file into it, like I love Python. Fine. Let's say how do we write down a file? So there are 3 ways of writing a file, where write lines and write line. Okay, all 3 are used. Now for writing this particular data in the file, we always need to follow the following steps. They are really important. Open the file to be updated in the write or append mode. Write the required data. To open the file by opening the file in read mode and then call the read function. So let's try one example where I'm writing a file, okay, to an existing file. I'll write something to an existing file by appending the file. So I've opened this particular file, that is text file.txt, with an append mode. What am I supposed to write into it? So I'll have to write it as f.write. I'm calling a function write. Okay. And what is to be written is given in the quotes. So here now the file has more contents. This is what I want to write down. I want to append that particular file. And I close the function, or I close the file. Now once this has been executed, let's assume that I already have and output, I already have a file which is a text file which includes hello, welcome to Python. This file is a text file and good luck. So all this is already existing. But after we execute these 3 lines, let's read what exactly has happened in. So for that, I need to write down f is equal to open text file in the read mode and then call a read function. So after that, what do I find is this particular line, that is now the file has has more contents, is continued in the original file that is appended to it. Fine. Now let's say, what if I have to write it down with W? So previously what we had done was we were opening the file, we were trying to open the file with an append style, and now we are trying it to the write mode, where I will write down something with oops, I have deleted the contents. I close the file, and if now I read the file, I will see that whatever previous contents were there in the file, the text file, they all are deleted and a completely new line is re-entered. So that is the difference between if we open a file with W or A, that is append. Thank you.